Hello, what is up guys? My name is Oliver and today I'm going to talk about my experience when I worked for Hermes Delivery Company.
My name is Charles II.
On local Facebook pages, I've been seeing a lot of complaints about them, so I thought, from my personal experience, let's expose them. So, if you didn't know, in the summer of 2018, I moved up north, and then I stupidly decided to move back down south, and when I came back down south, I needed a job, which just so happened to tie into the fact that I met this guy who offered me a job. So, me and a friend from that time went for job interviews at the company, which turned out to be Hermes. Yes, we didn't know it was Hermes. We were promised very good things. We were promised easy and flexible hours, we were promised good pay, and we were promised adequate service from the company. So with all that going good and great, you'd expect it to be great. Well, let me start you with day one. So, day one, I turned up at the Hermes depot in my van. This van right here. At that point, I had a bed built in the back. Not this bed, the bed I previously had before. So I didn't have a lot of space. However, I had a van. So they took that opportunity to give me a big route, especially for my first day. Now, with lots of Hermes depots all over the place, you'd expect it to be a local place that I'd be delivering for. Nah, that didn't happen, not a chance. So I ended up being the delivery driver for a district which was 12.5 miles away. It's not too bad, is it? But I pay the diesel. So I was driving 2 miles to the depot, getting there, having 2 trolleys coming out full of parcels, stacking the parcels in the van, and then driving to Sainsbury's to empty all the parcels out, to put them back in a neat order. So they were like roads, so it'd be easier for me to go around. Also, they didn't want me there doing it on site, so that's why I had to do it in Sainsbury's car park. And then I had to go and drive 12.5 miles over to the location that I'd be doing, the little district area, which doesn't sound too bad. You know, it's only, what, 14.5 miles overall, one way, then you got to do it back, of course. If you have deliveries left over, you've got to take them back to the depot. So the pay that was offered was 55p a delivery. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but when I did 128 deliveries, that is £70.40. They then said they'd minus 55p for insurance, which would leave me with £69.85 for one day's work. And I guess that's not too bad. You know, I started at 9 o'clock, they told me I'd be finished by 2. 8 hours later, I was probably about my 80th delivery at this point. The district that I got told I was doing was actually about 5 times bigger than it was. Not the end of the world. And you gotta remember, this is just day one, and I finished at 6 PM that day and started at 9 AM, which would equivalent to £7.76p an hour, which I guess isn't too bad. You know, I'm 19 years old. And that brings us on to day 2. Now, day 2 was a little different. I didn't have as many deliveries, but they were a lot bigger, as in, I'm talking this big. I had bungee cords around the back of the door and I had parcels piled up in the front. They were that big. Yet again, I was doing the same district. So I had to get there 2 miles to the depot, 12.5 miles over to the area, and then I had to do it back. No big deal. We had a little booklet of Hermes Slips for when you're doing a delivery. If a person isn't in, you'd write it on and then you'd put it through the door. We got told by the Hermes office that if it ends up that you're having to put a slip through the door, get rid of the parcel and don't bring it back. Which, I kind of understand, but at one point I was delivering a parcel this big, and I called up and I was like, what do I do? And she said, well, just stick it in the recycling bin. And I was like, right. And she went, just put a note through the door, they'll be back later and it'll be fine. Okay. 19-year-old me, on day number 2, I did that. Luckily, day number 1, I didn't struggle with that, as they were all a lot smaller parcels, and most of them I could just fit through the letterbox. With day number 2 coming to a close after many, many hours, and I took an hour break because I wanted to go see Nathan at work, you'd think it went all okay. But then when day 3 rolled around, and I went back to the depot, it seems they had some complaints about where the parcels were left, and I got the blame. Even though the depot, I called them up and they told me where to put them. I didn't have a choice. They told me where to put them in these stupid places. So one of them on a driveway was to put them under a boat, which they had at the back by their garage. Another one was over next door's gate. I even had to put one under a car outside a block of flats. So I was a little annoyed that I got the blame for something they told me to do. So I was like, right, okay, I kind of just dealt with it. You know, day 2, I knew maybe I, misinterpreted some things. No, I didn't misinterpret some things, though, because the same thing happened on day 3. Day 3 consisted of 96 deliveries, with the first day doing 128 and the other day only doing 68. 96 was in the middle, so it shouldn't take too long. No, not at all. Day 3 consisted of mainly the same addresses. There was a few extra roads which went further up the hill on the area I was doing. It's kind of like a district of a town which went up the side of this hill. So I was going up and down, doing all these deliveries. Remember, I had to go 2 miles to the depot, 12.5 miles to the area, and I was driving around all the areas. I clocked up quite a few miles in just these 3 days. I even did a live stream on this YouTube channel back when I was doing it. So I was just like, right, I've got this delivery, going out to the house, getting back in the van, because I could. It was a very impatient experience, and it was very miscoordinated. By miscoordinated, I mean that they were telling me to do things that I didn't feel safe with doing, especially with people's parcels. I was being told to do things that I wasn't comfortable with. That was the company, and I had to make my money. It was only 55p a delivery, but with the amount of diesel I've been using, I really needed that money back. My van actually broke down on day 3, right at the end in the Tesco's car park, so I was unable to do Thursday and Friday of deliveries because I needed to get my van repaired. But that wasn't the end of it, because I received my paycheck from the job, which it didn't add up. So my paycheck said for those 3 days I did, I earned £88. Bear in mind, I was working about 9 hours a day, so that's only 18 hours, plus I was driving and using all my diesel that I was paying for, and I was promised that 55p rate, which I inevitably didn't receive. After I received that, I chose to leave, and I waited for the money to go into my bank, which it didn't. I waited for about 1 month, because sometimes they do it at the end of the month, sometimes they do it at the beginning of the month. I thought if I give it 1 month for the money to go into my bank, that's fair enough. But I didn't receive it. So I called up the lady that I had the number for, and she said that the money didn't go into my bank because my bank was a new account. I started this bank account literally 1 week before, but that doesn't make a difference. After a back and forth experience with this lady, I never actually received my payment. I've never been paid from Hermes, from my Hermes, and that's very disrespectful. I lost out on money for 3 days' work, using my own diesel, putting money in every day to do these deliveries, going to a distance further away from everyone else. When everyone else had the local area, I didn't. And I've even tried logging onto the account. I've got some screenshots here, if they're showing. I hope they're showing. I tried logging onto the account, and basically they've blocked my account. I can't even show you the money that I was promised, which is even worse. I didn't get paid, they then block me out of the account, and they still expect me to give them a 5-star rating. Personally, if you have to pick who to order with, I wouldn't order with my Hermes. It is a very stressful job. If you need a job, do not go with my Hermes. During my job at my Hermes, the lady even made a joke saying, "Oh, if you see something from Yodel, just steal it." Which, yeah, it's a joke. But no, I found out that actually my Hermes delivery drivers had been doing that. They had been stealing the parcels, and I'm going to assume it's because they've been told to do that. I never stole a parcel because even if I had the chance to, I wouldn't. My Hermes doesn't have the greatest track record. They charge you, I think it's £6.50 for delivery, and then they pay their drivers 55p. I didn't even receive 55p a delivery. If I did it for 55p a delivery for those 292 deliveries, it's saying I should have got £530. No, I didn't get that. In fact, I got nothing. They didn't pay me. Do not go with my Hermes. Do not work for my Hermes. And if you guys know someone who has worked for my Hermes or has a my Hermes story similar to this, I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it's been a different kind of video, but if you like my videos, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I personally wouldn't order with my Hermes again. Even my own family have issues with them. And until the next video, adios. Goodbye.
Chill out. what you yelling for? Lay back, it's all been done before. And if you could only let it be, you would see I like you the way you are. When we're driving in your car and you're talking to me one-on-one, but you become somebody else, grab everyone else, you're watching your back like you